This program will bring you the major news stories as captured by the most important and significant news outlets in the country. We'll take a break. When I come back, I'll introduce the main issues up for discussion and our guests, and we'll delve into the issues. Stay with us. This week on the program, we're looking at three main issues. First, it's got to do with the ongoing voters exhibition exercise and all the issues that have come up with regards to allegations of missing names, principally coming from the quarters of the National Democratic Congress. Of course, the EC has responded to that, and the story has developed ever since those allegations were first made by the MP for Ashaiman and National, alleging that some 21,000 names of registered voters were missing, uncovered in the ongoing voters exhibition exercise. We also look at the industrial action, impasse, of course, albeit resolved, between the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association and two other bodies in the health sector and government regarding their conditions of service. Of course, that has been resolved, but the National Labour Commission has given government up to the 28th of October to resolve all those issues and the strike that may result from such an impasse. We'll look at that issue and proceeding out of a bloody weekend of accident and road crashes. We'll look at that matter as well on what the papers are saying in this edition. Let's start by looking at how the major news outlets captured the stories we've provided for you this week. So we begin with citynewsroom.com on the voters exhibition exercise. 2-day extension of voter registration exhibition woefully inadequate. That's from Mahama, NDC flag bearer. Peace Council can't resolve our concerns with electoral process, NDC. EC contemplates another round of voter registration exercise. Of course, the breaking news is that the EC has confirmed that October the 1st, Thursday, there will be another round of registration for some selected groups of people who were not in the country during the registration exercise, for which there is an ongoing voter exhibition exercise currently underway in the country. To the Daily Graphic, NDC allegations unfounded. That's from the Electoral Commission. December 2020 polls will make Ghana proud. President assures global community. And that's from the virtual United Nations General Assembly, which is currently underway. The president addressed that world gathering yesterday, making that case that Ghana's election in 2020 will be peaceful. To the Daily Guide, Mahama is desperate, says Nana. The Daily Graphic once again, EC to split polling stations with over 700 voters, with over 700 registered voters. The Daily Statesman, NDC exposed over voters register false claims. The New Crusading Guide, EC exposes NDC, says allegations regarding removal of NDC supporters from voters register unfounded. To the Daily Heritage, we know names omitted from the register. That's from a free anchor, Director of Elections for the NDC. Away from the issues regarding the voter exhibition exercise to the yes. So we have other issues as well regarding the registered nurses and allied health professionals, their conditions of service. We'll be discussing that matter in the course of the program. But let me introduce my guests to you. I have in studio Selorm Adonoo. Selorm Adonoo is head of features and articles, CTFM, CCTV. Welcome, Selorm.
Thank you, Duke.
I also have joining me Sammi Wiafe. Sammi Wiafe is presidential correspondent, CTFM and CTTV. Welcome, Sammi.
Thank you very much, Duke.
So let me begin, of course, the discussions with you, Selorm. Yes. But before we begin the discussions, of course, if we can quickly take a look at the other issues up for discussion as captured by the, yes. Daily Post. Red-eyed Mahama blasts Jean Mensah and her EC. To the matter of the registered nurses and allied health professionals, City Newsroom captures it NLC gives government nurses October 28th to resolve impasse. City Newsroom, nurses midwives suspend 3-day-old strike. Our issues are yet to be addressed despite suspension of strike. That's from the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, the GRNMA. To the Chronicle, pregnant woman dies with baby over nurses strike. Police hospital tight-lipped. That's a sad one. To the Ghanaian Times, patients stranded, hospitals deserted as nurses midwives lay down tools. To the Finder, nurses strike impedes healthcare delivery. Ghanaian Times, nurses midwives suspend nationwide strike. To the final issue regarding the road crashes. Lack of governing board, LI hampering road carnage management. But before that, 66% of accidental deaths emanate from road crashes. That's from the Bureau of Public Safety. We've begun investigations into recent accidents. The National Road Safety Authority. From the Eastern region, Asuboi residents threatened demonstration after crash leaves 8 injured. Daily Graphic, 15 die in road crashes. And the Ghanaian Times, 6 youth perish, 1 cop dies in 2 road accidents. And our last paper, Daily Guide, CAF chief others mourn quotes accident victims. So that's the roundup of the stories as captured by the major news portals. We would come into studio now and begin the discussions. Let me begin with you, Selorm. Usually, voters' exhibition exercises would pass quietly without it becoming a major focus or focal point of discussions among our political parties. As we have it currently, it's become a major issue. The flag bearer of the major opposition party, NDC, has had to cut short his campaign tour, same for the her running mate, to address a press briefing which took place today, essentially saying that the Electoral Commission must sit up and they will not accept the results of a flawed election. Voters registration exhibition exercise, the issues that have come up from it, good, bad? How do you assess the issues?
I mean, certainly not good. We want a peaceful system, a peaceful process. And indeed, voter registration or voter exhibition exercises have not been characterized by such interests marked by allegations, etc. It only tells one thing, that our electoral system or the way we conduct ourselves during elections and the things at stake make the process very competitive. And if the process is very competitive, a number of things must be done to kind of ease the stress the system brings. And when various stakeholders or key players in the system fail to do so, we have situations like this. But I must also say the allegations are not new, you know, when it comes to voter registration matters or matters relating to elections. Allegations or such issues should always be there or must always be there, because you do something, you do the registration exercise. It is during the exhibition that your names are, a provisional register of a sort is provided for people to cross-check their details to be sure that everything is fine. But so the NDC is making a number of allegations. The allegations they make, I think, can be put into 3 groups or are threefold. One, that there is an omission, or there are omissions of names of people from the register. Some officials of the party have actually called it deletion or removal of names, which connotes a sense of the thing being done deliberately. I do not know that, so I will call it omission of names. So it could be deliberate or not, but I'm not in a position to tell what it is. But in good faith, I want to assume that there are errors that should be corrected or that must be corrected. Also, the NDC is making claims of the fact that the register or the register is being padded. So omission, and there's the allegation of padding. There's also the allegation of duplication or the fact of multiple voter registration codes or numbers. So for example, I am registered in a particular polling station. My name is correct, but my ID, my voter number could be shared by 2 or more people. And if that happens, certainly it's a problem, because I'm not sure who will be accepted as the right person to vote. So if that happens, that obviously is a problem. So when you put all those things together, it creates a kind of situation which is not very beautiful. In other instances, we can deal with this quietly, and the matter will not grow or become what we are seeing today. But it has become so because of a number of things. One, as I stated earlier, because our electoral process has become very competitive, very, very competitive. And you can recall the debate and the passion that attended the pre-registration exercise. The fact that it should be done, it should not be done, the register is bloated or not, whether it's a waste of money, etc. And how passionate we got in those discussions and debates. Now, the registration process itself, we had gunshots, some people died, people were injured, etc., just because they wanted to register and be able to exercise their constitutional right of voting. Some people had to die, others had to be injured, gunshots had to be fired. That should tell you the height we are getting to when it comes to our electoral, processes. Also, the situation was also dogged by issues of citizenship. You are not a citizen, foreigners are coming into the system, and all these heightened tensions. And we had instances where some people who claimed they are Ghanaians genuinely were stopped or prevented from registering in the process. And those people to date live with the pain and anger that they were not treated fairly. Also, we had a number of court matters attending this particular process. So all these things, when you put all these things together, you're seeing a country that appears to be divided at the middle just because of elections. And that is very competitive. But so you have a system which is
this not the very essence of having this voter exhibition exercise?
No, exactly.
To have the details,
yes.
to have the names corrected, to have other details, fine-tuned if there are challenges with that.
Yes, I'm just trying to build a point. Yes. So it is not normal, obviously, that an exhibition exercise would generate this kind of passion and discussion and the kind of utterances we have seen. It is not out of nothing. That's why I was trying to provide a context to it. So when you have all these things attending or coming to the situation, already the people, or a lot of people, or some people, do not trust the referee. So what should a referee do? The referee in such situations should ensure that they are open, they are transparent, and indeed were they open and transparent in the process? To a large extent, yes, because we had weekly or quite regular updates of the process. The citizens must know programs they did, where they put out figures of people who have registered, daily, etc. And that was very laudable, and we said it was a great thing, to the extent that they even said that every day the party agents at the stations were going to be giving receipts or details of people who had registered, their names, details, and numbers. Those things were to help, improve the transparency of the system. Now you have a place where there's an exhibition, and now people are saying that, Ashama, for example, they say that about 21,000 names were missing. They made noise, or after 24 or 48 hours later, some 14,000 names appeared. The question they ask is, where were these 14,000 names? And the 7,000 names they claim are still missing from the system, where are they? So you see, when you have these claims coming, and you have the EC not really giving out information as expected, it creates quite a number of issues. The referee must be ready to engage. Must be ready to engage, because if there are issues, we have to talk about the issues, and there should be the willingness to listen to people, and to a large extent work with what people say, or what the people say. That is, if it's the general, it's what they agree to do, and the fact that it does not offend the laws and it does not upset the process, in a big manner. But we've not quite seen, these things playing out this way. Now, when you look at the posture of the EC saying that the claims are unfounded, etc., I don't think it paints a good picture about our system. I expected the EC to say they were looking at the claims or they are ready to engage, and the IPAC system that we have, they called an IPAC meeting today, for example. Some of these matters should be discussed thoroughly and solutions proffered to ensure that we diffuse the passion that's attending this program and ensure that trust is built around the process as we march towards election 2020. The utterances of the other party, which is the MPP, in respect of the allegations, largely have been dismissive. The Director of Elections yesterday said that the claims of the NDC, for example, or the allegations were baseless. It said that they have no merit and they should not be given attention. So if you speak like that, it makes people feel that you know something about the system. I would have expected that you say the EC must listen to them or the EC must investigate those claims and ensure that it does what is right. That, I think, would have worked better to calm tensions. Because, you know, it cannot be the case that people are making this number of allegations and the other side is just quiet.
But is this not born out of the already antagonistic posture of the NDC even before the start of this whole process? Just as if to make the case that we told you that don't go on this path. Yeah. You've gone on that path, see where it's all landed us.
That's a great point. So it's the more reason why I think the election management body must adopt a process that would diffuse or disabuse the minds of people who would think this way. And if they do it that way, the NDC will be exposed big time. So we've had instances in the past where we understand they go for IPAC meetings and EC asks certain people to shut up, etc. It is not actually a way. My concern really is that it is not a good thing to have the largest opposition party, former president, for example, saying that the results of the election, or they will not accept the results of a flawed election. Indeed, nobody accepts the results of a flawed election. But it's an indication of the kinds of things which are to come. And for me, it is not a good place to be. All stakeholders involved in this process must ensure that the process is fair, there's integrity in the process, so that when a certain outcome is delivered at the end of the day, that outcome will be accepted by a bigger majority of the country. We can't say 100% of the people will accept the result, but a good number of the people will accept the result, and they will know that the result really is a true reflection of the will of the people. For me, that is where the meat of the issue is.
Okay, let me come to you, Sammi. First of all, have you gone through the process? How was it when going through the process, checking your details and scanning around how the general interest and how things are at the exhibition center?
Okay, good evening, Duke. I had the opportunity to go verify if indeed my name was in the register. This
electronically or
manually,
physically?
Physically, manually, whichever you wanted. This will be my first time I've gone to a polling center or police station to go verify.
Really?
If my name
and
is
voting for how
since
many?
I started voting in 2004.
Okay.
Because it was an exercise a lot of I didn't take serious, but after allegations or what we saw in the media playing out, I decided to take upon myself to go check if indeed my name is in the register. And when I went today, I found out that indeed my name was in the register. Virtually there was no one there. I think from the list, when I asked the officials there, I was the second person. That's at the time I got around 10 a.m. who had come to verify if his or her name was there. So it was a smooth process. But we are having the challenges we are facing now because the stakes are high.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people want to check if indeed their names are captured in the register, considering the vigorous nature this whole registration exercise went. You know, the NDC from day one had argued that there was no need to have a new register. The MPP argued that indeed we needed a new register. The NDC went to court. The courts dismissed their case. The EC was given the green light to register. Issues of violence. We heard that somewhere in the Banda constituency, I stand to be corrected though, that a gentleman had to lose his life because of this whole registration. So from day one, from the pushing of the NDC, the stakes has been very, very high in this whole exercise. So they whipping up sentiment and asking their members to go verify if indeed their names are found in the register. That's how come we got to know, or we found out that indeed some names have been missing from register. This afternoon, I had the opportunity to listen to the former president address the press and catalog a number of constituencies where he fails, or according to the party reports, there are challenges with the names of people on the register. He mentioned the Binduru constituency, Japa constituency, Kloli Kote here in Accra, the Kro constituency here in Accra, Shaman, Ketu South, where he said over 158 people did not have their names on the register. He mentioned the Anglo constituency, the Ketu North, the Keta, Kraga, Tamale South, and the Tolon constituency. So if these names or these constituencies that the former president mentioned is anything to go by, then we have a problem.
All in all, close to some 30,000 names.
30,000 names, and that forms a constituency. Yeah. In some areas, that number is even larger than the whole constituency. So it's a cause for worry. We've not experienced this before. So I feel the EC, in one way or the other, should listen to the concerns of the NDC. I think all the political parties should come together, have the EC to address this, because this affects every political party. I'm not sure it's only the NDC members who are having their names of the register. I've heard the campaign manager of the MPP, Mr. McMenu, also say that in the Eastern region, which is considered to be a stronghold of the MPP, there are some people who also don't have their names on the register. So I felt a cast across to all political parties, and so the EC should set the political parties down, look at these constituencies where these issues are coming from, and let's have this thing verified before the election day, because it will be chaotic on election day. If you go to a polling station to go and vote, you have your card, and you get there and you don't find your name in the register. I'm not sure you just watch and go, that, oh fine, my name is not in, let me just go. No, every individual in Ghana who is a Ghanaian 18 years and above and has registered has the right to determine who the leadership or the leader of this country. So if I go on voting day and I realize my name is not on the register, I will not agree. I will insist that indeed my name is captured in there for me to cast my ballot. The justice, we heard that the EC is opening a one-day registration exercise to register some people. Is it going to be the people who did not have opportunity to register, or people whose name are missing in the register who are given another opportunity to register in this exercise? I feel the EC should come out clear for us to know which people are qualified to register in this particular whole exercise, or people who could not register because of the pandemic. Because we know some people during the exercise were in quarantine, others traveled outside the country, now they are here and the rest. So the EC needs to stay clear that which people are going to register for this one day exercise that we have.
But people have said that this is, I mean, the very essence of the voter exhibition exercise is to have these anomalies corrected.
Of course,
so why I mean, kick a storm based on findings that you've made that there are certain names that have not been deleted, with even inbuilt within the process of our electoral, our calendar, is the system of rectifying some of these problems, even when it's moved from a provisional register to a certified register. The political parties can still get that done. So why has this become a political issue?
To answer you, as I said earlier, the stakes are high, and it's politics. If we are truthful to ourselves, it's the NDC who is making these claims, for want of a better word, that indeed the names are not found. It's not the MPP, it's not the it's not the CPP or the PNC. It's been the NDC for politics, or for I don't know what to say, but then purely because of politics. Because from day one, we knew the NDC had opposed the new registration. So for them, or for the whole process to have such challenge, it will obviously be for them to whip up sentiment among Ghanaians that indeed we said it from day one that we didn't need a register. The EC ignored us. They went ahead to do this registration. Now look at the challenges we are facing here. And so for politics, the NDC will play this thing to the advantage. Therefore, former President Mahama to say that indeed they will not accept a floor election, I think we should cool down. This whole system will be rectified before election day. So no candidate going to an election will accept a floor election. No, even the Bojo election we do here, even when it's genuine and correct, people still have concerns about the outcome of the election. So he should cool down. I'm sure the EC will meet the political parties, rectify these anomalies, and December 7th will have a peaceful election. Already, the president has assured the international community that this year's election is going to be peaceful. So we hope and see how this plays out.
Selorm, to come back to what happened today at the NDC's press briefing, apart from the rhetoric, or apart from what was said by the NDC flag bearer, there's also this issue about the Peace Council cannot, some sort of, well, for want of a better word, an attack or a comment about what the other institutions within our democratic architecture has not done well within this space to ensure some sort of, sanity, or some sort of, advise the EC to proceed cautiously with regards to this process. The Peace Council, for instance, the NDC General Secretary is on record to have said that they cannot resolve the concerns with the electoral process.
So it's unfortunate. I mean, we have institutions of state, but so again, it goes back to the issue of mistrust.
Okay.
When people mistrust institutions for whatever reason, these are the things which we see, and it's not a good place to be as a country. The Peace Council, I'm sure, have tried to do their best in the past. Of course, it's just the same problem we've had. If you are in opposition, you tend to see certain institutions in a certain way. You don't trust them because you feel that they don't respond to you in a manner you want to. When you are in government, the situation is different. So we have the Electoral Commission, for example. And is it not strange that every time a party is in office, they defend the Electoral Commission, so they become the mouthpieces of the Electoral Commission. When they are in opposition, they attack the Electoral Commission. Similar thing for the National Peace Council as well. When things come up, people expect the National Peace Council to come out in a certain way, but they also have their working protocols. Yeah. They may not come out in the way that you want them to. Maybe they are watching. Sometimes time heals things, so you don't even have to make any comment. I'm sure they are very elderly people there. They are very experienced people. I mean, clergymen, very experienced people there. I don't think it was quite a good comment that Asedi Nkita made. It only goes to weaken the trust we have in our institutions. We should not get there. And if there's anything also those institutions must be doing to ensure that trust and confidence, we restore those in their operations, I think they should do it. I don't have the answer, but I think it's important that we do things as stakeholders, both sides, to ensure that the trust and confidence in our institutions are always kept at a certain level. Because if there is trouble, these are the same elders and people who will call in to come and mediate. And if we start bastardizing what they do, it doesn't really, it doesn't cut a good, figure or picture for those institutions, because we will need them certainly someday to do something for us.
Okay, so we'll take a break here. But just to remind you that your thoughts, views, and opinions on the matters that we're discussing here are welcome. 055-058-5832. On other platforms, social media as well. The comments can come in and we'll read them for you. We'll take a break here. When I come back, we'll delve into the other issues and, of course, bring on board your messages. Stay with us.
Don't just watch, be wowed. Get fired up. Get down. Catch feels. Drop the mic. Choose to be moved. On the move. Hot spot, any spot. Enjoy a new view. Walk in another's shoes. Power heels. Paws. And feet. Take your stories to the streets. Hold court with court queens, ice queens, and yas queens. Fly away. Come back home. And enjoy online entertainment on any screen. Sign up at showmax.com and change the way you watch.
Election 2020, Ghana makes a choice. Tracking and bringing reports of the presidential and parliamentary campaigns across the length and breadth of this nation.
Analyzing campaign activities and election data with our panelists on the Voters' Diary. The Voter's Diary is the most factual, instructive, and balanced election 2020 analysis program on television.
The Voter's Diary, every weekday on City TV from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Stay informed on all the relevant issues on election 2020. Tune into the Voter's Diary, it's Ghana's choice.
You're welcome back. This is what the papers are saying right here on CCTV. I still have in studio Selorm Adonoo and Sammi Wiafe. We've been discussing the matters that have come up with regards to the ongoing voters registration and the voter exhibition exercise. Yes, the voter exhibition exercise and the allegations of missing names. The NDC flag bearer today addressed the press, alleging close to 30,000 names are missing. And if the EC does not take the necessary steps to rectify this problem, they will not accept the results of a flawed election, as the flag bearer of the NDC for the 2020 election put it. Let me come back to the studio once again. We went on a break on the note of the comments made against the Peace Council. Of course, the eminent advisory panel that the EC set up in the midst of all of the discussions and the brouhaha regarding the new voters register. Is the Peace Council too laid back? Are they too laid back with regards to the issues? Should they be speaking about some of these issues before the political actors take it up?
Well, Duke, the Peace Council has never known peace since its inception, depending on which political party is in power. I remember in 2012, 2016 thereof, the MPP then in opposition came heavily on the National Peace Council, which was headed by Professor Asante. I don't know if he's still the head of that institution.
No, Professor Asante.
Asante, yeah. The MPP came very, very hard on them, on radio, running the institution down and the likes. Now today the MPP is in power and the NDC is doing exactly opposite what the MPP did when it was in opposition. So depending on where the party is, whether in power or in opposition, the National Peace Council becomes, for want of a better word, an enemy, if you want to put it that way. But as Selorm said, the National Peace Council is not supposed to just get up and speak at any time. I'm sure they have their processes. They have the procedures they go through before they come out publicly to speak on these matters. I remember during the registration exercise, when we had some incidents in our Sawase constituency, I remember very well that they moved in there to resolve these issues, held news conferences with the feuding faction, the MPP and the NDC, and they spoke on the matter. So I believe they are monitoring what's going on, and I feel when the time is due for them to speak, they will definitely speak on this particular matter. So we shouldn't rush them. We should take time, allow them to go through the process. I'm sure they are being briefed day in, day out on how this whole process is. I'm sure when they have all the briefing, all the facts, the further and better particulars, they'll be in a better position to advise the Electoral Commission and the nation as far as this whole exercise is concerned. Okay,
let's come back to this issue still and wrap up on it. Next time I'm looking at, today there was an IPAC meeting. In the midst of all the address by the NDC flag bearer, just before that there was an IPAC meeting. Another issue that came up, of course, the matter of allowing those who are not able to register during the main registration exercise to have the opportunity to do that. This evening, the EC has released a statement indicating that there will be a one-day exercise, a registration exercise, some sort of a mop-up after the mop-up of 1 day, which is to give the opportunity to those who have attained the age of 18 and for citizens who, for one reason or the other, could not register in the just ended exercise. So that issue on one side, as against those who had been making calls, or have been making calls for them to have been given the opportunity, i.e. those who were outside the country because of the closure of the air borders, the pandemic, those who were in quarantine, and all of that. Amidst the issues of missing names and the EC trying to put its act together with regards to the voters' roll itself, the EC is saying one more day for people to register, and all the, issues of mistrust, as was raised today by the NDC at the IPAC as well. Is the EC walking the tightrope, walking the fine line very well with regards to this process?
Well, every opportunity to give, or any opportunity to give people the chance to register to be part of the role and the decision-making process of the country, I think is great. I think, of course, because of COVID and a few other things, the EC is walking a very tightrope. Their calendar is being compressed, and they are doing, I'm sure they are doing their best to deliver a good election. I don't see anything wrong with giving the parties one more day or Ghanaians one more day to register. I think it's great because, especially as a lot of, or some of the people who wanted this were people who were outside of the country, locked outside the country for obvious reasons, COVID. And now that that restriction has been lifted, these people are Ghanaians, they've come into the country, they deserve a chance to be on the roll. So I think it's great, only that we must ensure that that process is properly policed. I don't know what the modalities are, but I don't think that it should be very different from what we've had in the past, where party agents, etc., will be deployed at the various district offices where the exercise will take place to ensure that they are satisfied, or satisfactorily they agree with what the EC is doing. A small other point in respect of the numbers and everything. I know the EC at the end of every registration day provided receipts or details of all persons who registered. So how does that work? Will the numbers they have now be the same as, the result of collating all those daily receipts over the period? Would that be the total number of persons who registered at the polling station and multiply by the number of polling stations in the constituency to give the total number of constituencies? If that is the case, and if that is the case, then I don't think there should be too much disagreement, because all the political parties present were given the same sheet or the same receipts. If you do the tabulation, it's quite a lot of work, but it's easy to come out with a figure that everybody should agree with. So I don't see why there should be a huge disparity between the figures that the EC has and the figures that the political parties have. I think it's important that the two sides, even at the district level, sit down and work out this thing so that we don't have the problems or the suspicions that we are seeing now as we approach the elections.
Okay, Sammi. Wrapping up comment on this issue.
I feel this registration is not necessary. Reason why I'm saying this is that you can't have everybody on the register.
Is it not legitimate for those who are locked out of the country?
Sure.
For those who are in quarantine, they have a legitimate right to cast their ballot.
They have another opportunity after 4 years to register. They have another opportunity to register after 4 years. There are problems with the electoral roll. We know what's happening. Even exhibition, see what's happening. They want to have people register again to compound to already problems that we have. I feel it's not necessary. Through no fault of theirs, both the EC and the people, we all know what happened. If they missed it, they missed it. There's another opportunity every 4 years to have them. And moreover, I'm told that
the registration goes on
almost all the time. So if there are opportunities to register to vote in this election, there's another opportunity for them to. I find this really unnecessary.
But for people to have matched up, formed groups to push for this cause, is the EC not right to just give them just even a day for them to do that? Because, I mean, it's the right to vote is sacred under the democracy.
Even the one day, not too short to have all these people register.
But at least they've given them the opportunity across the country.
For me, I find it very, very unnecessary. If you missed it, you missed it. There's another opportunity for you some other day to have your registration or have your name on the register. That's it.
So for you, it may compound an already existing problem.
And we are told that they are doing it in their district offices across the country. So how is the monitoring going to be done? As Selorm said, are we going to have party agents there to ensure that if 1,000 people came day one or say tomorrow to do the registration, the printing will be 1,000, we will not have more than that or less. So already the register has its own problems already. So let's try to solve what is already there, then compounding it with a new registration. I find it very, very unnecessary.
Okay, let's. The electoral committee was supposed to have ended tomorrow, but it's been extended for 2 days.
Yes.
The NDC is calling for another extension. that the 2 days not enough
Well,
for the exhibition? For the exhibition,
of course, it's a good call. You have a right to make calls, but I doubt if that call will be heeded. But my question really is, given the anomalies or the scale of anomalies we've seen, would the EC also give a 2-day or 1-day window at the end of everything to say let's exhibit, so that people, how about
those who will register again on the 1st of October?
Yes, so that it's for everybody.
because already you know,
a lot of names,
the
people,
EC is racing against time.
Yes.
People have raised issues. Now, if these names get restored, I don't know how it will be, because you go and sign the document, and the name is you do it in the office or something.
The inclusion form.
Yes. Should there be a day that people who submitted those inclusion forms will now go and check to be sure that indeed their names have been included on the register, and the new people who will join the register or be added to the register from the 1st of October, registration exercise. I don't know how the EC is dealing with that, but I think it would be important to know. Well,
yeah, so it's been extended. It was supposed to have ended tomorrow, but it would, that's Friday. It's supposed to have ended on Friday, but it's been extended to Sunday. And from all indications, even if you've checked the details via the short code that the EC has provided, it's also important that you go to the center to verify the details that you've considered, because the message that comes from the short code does not give you details of pictures and other things. You can only do that manually. That's not to discredit what the EC is doing electronically.
What's the point?
Where we are told that you're a man, but when you get there, the picture there is a woman's picture.
I mean, from one of the report that was done from Ashaiman yesterday on City News.
So, when you got there was Amelia's name there.
Interesting. So despite the electronic platform, we are told it's also advisable to go physically today or manually to check the details, because it's important going into December 7th election. So let's take some of the messages that have come in so far. Kofi from Community 22 Tema says, my name was not on the exhibition list, but I went to the EC's office to find out why. Within 3 minutes, they showed me my name on the PC, but they insisted that it will not be part of the exhibition list. So why the exhibition then? Root cause is due to the change in the IT infrastructure of the Electoral Commission. That's from Kofi in Community 22 in Tema. Ahmed from WA says, the names in the voter register are really omitted, so the 2-day extension cannot even solve the problem. The EC management should set up and do diligent work and should even pay those who did the registration. That's a different matter. Fraysena Anu from Dowenya says, no Electoral Commission in the history of our democracy has ever come out to tout a political party as a threat to I don't know what you're talking about. It is very obvious these bunch of commissioners have created a mistrust and tension in the country. Please, you can't make some of the accusations you make, if they are unfounded. We cannot read the messages that proceed out of that. Let's move on to from that to labor issues in the health sector. So there was the declaration of intent by some 3 unions in the health sector, led by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, to go on strike from just the Monday gone past by. But there was an injunction Friday on the matter. The parties have come to the table after 2 days of strike. They've come to the table. The NLC's managed to get them to go back to work because of the injunction on the matter. Of course, the nurses are also an essential service, the health staff. Are the nurses and the midwives and all the other allied health professionals, are they asking for too much? Are they asking for too much? I mean, we've heard stories, and from the stories that we even put up, reviewed, people have had to die because of the strike.
Well, it's an interesting question, whether they're asking for too much. I don't know what too much is, and I don't know what promise was made them. So if you make a promise, I mean, if the employer, and it's been a perennial matter, so it's not a matter that has been caused by today's government. So if you make a promise and the people, after a while, do not see the fulfillment of that promise, I think the law even allows them to vent. So there are avenues open to people, even by law, to express disapproval. So demonstration is one of them. Industrial actions or strikes are also one of those avenues that the law allows, albeit there are rules around how you exercise those opportunities the law gives you to vent your concerns. So are they asking for too much? It depends on what they were told, and what they were told and what they were promised. I listened to the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. She made other comments apart from there are substantive issues about conditions of service, and indeed there are still conditions of service. For example, she said that allowances for frontline workers promised them, at the height of the COVID fight, she claims those allowances have not been paid. She talked about the fact that they didn't know much about the insurance package that they were promised, etc. PPEs were not given to them to do their works the way they want. So all these things, together with other issues of allowances they've had in the past, culminated to give us the situation that we have today. We've said many times even here that the distribution of PPE must be done in a very efficient way so that the people who are facing the fight on our behalf, are protected. They have a sense of protection when they go out there to do it. We've also said that the PPE thing is such that, you must keep providing, because you can use it in a few minutes or hours. You have to dispose them off and then use another. So it's not as if you just provide them PPE and then you go to sleep. So all across the world, there have been issues with PPE, but I think it depends on how their engagement has been. So they went on the strike by the process by the legal process. They've managed to get them back to work. It was unfortunate that they had to go on strike in the first place, and even more unfortunate that certain people have had to die as a result of this strike, and certain people's condition, have had to exacerbate as a result of this. But I think the good news now is that they are back, although temporarily up to October 28th or so, to see whether the employer and the employees can sit around the table and agree on what their conditions of service really should be. Because indeed, when you look at the conditions of some of the nurses and the monies they take home as salaries at the end of the month, it doesn't look good compared to the kinds of things they do. So if you want our nurses to do well, and we say that the nurses have lost empathy, the nurses of old are not the same as nurses of today, etc. If you want the nurses to operate or perform at that level, that optimal level, where when you see nurses you'll be happy because they will treat you well, etc., we should also, as a people, begin to look at issues of their emolument properly. We don't just pay lip service to them. We ensure that we give them what is due them, and that is important. But what is due them must also be fair. They must not make the government suffer too much in terms of asking for too much, and government must also ensure that what it gives them is fair. It's a fair game we all want.
Okay, sorry. You have a list of the demands that they are making. Over 5 different sets of allowances.
Sure.
That they are asking for. Same question I posed to Selorm. Are they asking for too much?
They are not. They are not. Compared to what they take and what doctors take, I feel the disparity is too wide. It's about time, at least if not equal, it's closed a bit, so they can also enjoy what they take home. Because if you go to hospitals, nurses do more. They do more. They are the first port of call before even the doctor comes in to help. I think the nurses deserve more, and they are not asking for too much, And we could feel the impact just 3 days. We could realize, or we all realize, what really happened in the various public hospitals as we know. So I managed to get this information from a lady friend of mine who happens to be a nurse at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, a staff nurse, and some of the demands they were making. According to her, the basic salary of a staff nurse is 1,847 cedis. So the demands they were making was that 25% of the basic salary as rent allowance. That will amount to 461 Ghana cedis, 75 pesos. 15% of basic salary as TNT, which will amount to 277 cedis. 10% of basic salary for uniform allowance, that will be 184 cedis. And then 25% of basic salary as professional development allowance, that will be 461. So in total, it will be 1,387. So if you add that one to the basic salary, they're looking at 3,232. This is all they're asking for. So they feel that if you should at least meet them with this particular demand, they will also feel somehow better in the work that they do. And apparently, the push for this better working condition or condition of service has been there for a while. According to Perpetua, who appeals to the president, they started making these push since 2012. And then successive government from that time till now have not been able to meet those demands. So they thought there was time and the need for them to make this thing public for Ghanaians to know that indeed this what they, because they compare themselves to the doctors, and they feel that the doctors' zone are too wide in terms of what they take home. So they should only make these demands. But it's unfortunate that this strike resulted in death. We are told that one person died. I stand to be corrected though. It's unfortunate. Some people had their situation getting worse because the nurses were on strike. But thank God they are back to work. And as Perpetua said, they may be back with a strike if these demands are not met before after the negotiations, which is supposed to end somewhere 28th of October. So it's not too much. The government should meet them because these are frontline health workers. And in every public hospital, you need a nurse. You need a nurse in every public hospital. And even in private hospitals, we need these nurses there. So they are not asking for too much. This is what is due them, and they must get it.
Okay, so parties have a deadline of October 28 to work towards to resolve the issues. Okay. Otherwise, that's according to what the National Labour Commission is saying. They are better between government and the association. All right, so final issue. Sad weekend. Different accidents, road crashes. The most tragic of them all has been described by many. Two of them, the incident involving juvenile football players in Ofinso, and one involving one of the contestants of our own program, for which we've had to suspend keyboard idol. It's become one too many. It looks like it's a perennial issue. It comes once every while it's discussed, it goes down under, it becomes another issue, it comes up again. What's wrong with us?
Oh, Duke, I don't know, because we've done everything. Education, and still we get these things happening almost every weekend. It normally happens on weekends. Yeah. Every weekend we hear of road accidents. On our major roads, Accra, Kumasi, Accra, Cape Coast, these are the places you hear a lot of these accidents, and you ask yourself, what at all happens on these roads that we get these accidents every day? Is it about the roads? Is it about the drivers? Is it? I don't know. Just on Monday, the National Road Safety Commission, one of their officers was on Bernard Avle's show and said they were going to investigate some of these accidents. We've heard them say these things.
At first they said they didn't have it. Now they have been elevated from a commission to an authority. Fine. They're still calling for more powers. I don't know what.
We hear these things too many. Too many. Look, the young man who was part of the
Chris.
I know,
Chris.
I hear he's 13 years old. So sad. So sad. He finishes the show. He's going back to his base, and that's it. I don't know what to say again.
Selorm.
Well, it's a perennial issue, really, and it's a behavioral or attitudinal matter. And attitudinal matters, you don't just solve them once and for all, because, people do things every time, especially when law enforcers take their eyes off the ball. Okay. I think it's a problem of education and it's a problem of enforcement. But it's more a problem of enforcement than education, because to a large extent, a lot of people know that when you go beyond the speed limit, to some extent, you are endangering your life and you're endangering the lives of other people. We've heard the National Road Safety Authority now, in the past commission, say that they needed more powers to enable them bite, etc. There used to be the National Road Safety Committee, and I'm just looking at a budget and economic policy of the government of Ghana for the 1999 financial year. Kwame Pepre's budget presented on the authority of Rawlings. And the same issue was mentioned. And this was when the government said that they were looking at restructuring the National Road Safety Committee to make a commission to enable them do better. That same argument has been repeated in the last few years, that the commission now should become an authority to make them able to bite further. We can do all these things, but if we don't equip them enough, they cannot do the job. A lot of other things must happen. Law enforcement, what do we do to people we find going beyond the speed limit? What do we do to them? Do we prosecute them? Do we ensure they pay for it? Or the police people by the roadside just talk to them, have a handshake with them and they go away? What really is the matter? That matter should be dealt with properly. We need more education or advocacy, and then that must be followed by enforcement. If you don't enforce, you are making mockery of yourself. There's a document that Kojo refers to, which said that in the time that city was doing the war against indiscipline, the number of accidents actually reduced, which meant that people know that when eyes are watching, they have to be careful, and really they are careful. And this is a fact that the
National Road Safety Authority corroborates. I think that for the Ministry of Transport, it's not the best that, months after the National Road Safety Commission became an authority, they don't have a governing board. The LI to operationalize the activities are still not being brought to Parliament. I think it's something that is worth looking at. We'll wrap up with this comment from, still on the voters exhibition exercise, from Maoli Pong. Says, we have had several registration and exhibitions in the past, but the anomalies with this provisional register is unprecedented. The EC boss has a reputation on the line. Please, the EC boss, this is the only country we have, and that's from Maoli. My name is Duke Mensah Opoku. That's how we end this week's edition of What the Papers Are Saying. I had in studio Selorm Adonoo, Head of Features and Articles, CTFM CTTV, and Sammi Wiafe, Presidential Correspondent, CTFM CTTV. Stay tuned in to CTTV. Enjoy the rest of our programming.